Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about books that would be perfect to read for summer, and I'm so excited to make this video because I really do love summer books because summertime is just the best time to read. So here is a somewhat long list of mine and I hope that you enjoy it. Okay, let's start with the obvious books to read during summer, and that's romance books. Or at least in my opinion. I think a lot of people are reading romance during summer, and let's start with one of the most famous authors that there is in that genre, and that is Emily Henry. If you have not heard about her, I don't know where you have been for the last couple of years, but she writes great romance books. I have read 4 of her books and I am in the middle of the 5th and there's 6 out. I have not read that yet, but let's talk about them. We have Beach Read and Book Lovers, and these books are more like enemies to lovers, somewhat not that hard on the word enemy. In Beach Read, they're both authors and they do know each other from school, as I recall. And then randomly one summer they get to live right across from another. Then they do start to help each other writing their books. They both have some problems getting started with these new books, but they're helping each other, and they're also helping each other from some trauma that has happened. And in Book Lovers, the main characters are, I believe, editors, and they have always been competing a little bit. The woman in that story goes to the small town with her sister, and there randomly she runs into her nemesis because he's from that town. And again, stuff is happening in that town that has that whole small cozy vibe to it, and Beach Read has really a beachy vibe to it. Yeah, all right. But my favorite books from Emily Henry is People We Meet on Vacation and Happy Place, because there's a whole lot more yearning in these books, and I'm a sucker for that. And People We Meet on Vacation is friends to lovers, and Happy Place is second chance romance. In People We Meet on Vacation, it's about these two friends. I think they have been friends since college, and they go on this vacation each year to new places, and they like to explore, but they haven't really explored each other yet. And Happy Place is about this couple that have just recently broken up, but they are going to this vacation house that they have always gone to with their friends, and they're not telling them because they do not want to ruin the vibe, because it is the last time that they're going to this house. So yeah, I love these 2 books. They were great. But so many people are loving Beach Read and Book Lovers more. You decide whatever you want to read. And right now I am in the middle of Funny Story, and this one is about fake dating and that whole trope. And then, stuff is happening again. I like it. I think it's gonna be great. Again, I think Emily is doing a really good job with romance books. And let's move on to another great romance author, and that's Abby Jimenez. And I have only read 2 books by Abby Jimenez, and that is Part of Your World and Yours Truly. And they are in this same series, but you can read them as standalones, because in each book in that series you do follow a character that has been introduced but hasn't been, the main character in the previous book. So it doesn't matter if you're only going to read one of them. I think Abby Jimenez is really also good with writing about trauma or some mental problems or some pressure from the outside. I know that the last book in that series is about an abusive relationship, so there could be some potential trigger warnings in these books, but I really do love that it isn't just a cheesy romance series. There are some serious stuff going on. And at the same time, Abby Jimenez writes really, really funny. There are so many great scenes that are just funny, which I like. Part of Your World is about this rich and famous doctor, and she comes from this rich and famous doctor family. She has money. And then it's about Daniel, I think the guy is called, who comes from this small town, does not have that much money, but you know, stuff is happening again. And the second book, Yours Truly, is also about two doctors. It's, you know, in the same series, but they do not come from rich families, but they have this fake dating going on because of reasons. The man in this book is struggling with social anxiety, and I really love how Abby Jimenez describes social anxiety. I think it was pretty spot on. I adore these books as well. They are perfect for summer reads, again. So yeah, you're welcome. Then we have Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus, and this book is a bit different, but I love it anyways, and I think it is a great romance book. You follow Elizabeth and Calvin, I think that's his name. They are both scientists in the 60s. Calvin has autism, and maybe Elizabeth also have a little bit of that too, to her personality. And Elizabeth is really struggling at this company because she's a woman and she does not get the respect that she deserves, but she kicks ass. And there's some plot twist in this book as well, and I did not see coming. It was just great. It's also about motherhood. Again, there are kind of like two parts to this book. Is the movie already out, or is the movie coming? I definitely need to see that. Then we have Hate Mail. And Hate Mail is about Naomi and Luca, and they have been pen pals since elementary school. And something happened, and Naomi hasn't heard from Luca for 2 years. They're both adults now. Naomi is this weather reporter. She gets contacted through her job, and she knows it's Luca. And this is about Naomi tracking Luca down. But she also has this very hot, nice neighbor. So I won't spoil more than that, but I had a great time reading this. It's not exactly enemies to lovers or friends to lovers. It's something in between those two. So that worked really well. The next book is Normal People by Sally Rooney. And this book is about Marian and Connell. And they go to the same high school together. They come from this smaller town in Ireland. And Marian gets bullied a lot in that high school. And Connell is more of a popular guy there. He doesn't really do anything to stop the bullying, but he is also crushing on Marianne, and his mom is cleaning for Marianne's mom. And you know, they start a thing, and it's about their journey from high school up until the end of college. And they do have a great development. And there's also some trauma here and struggling with mental health. They're both struggling a lot. So this book is also a bit more serious than, you know, just a straightforward, cheesy romance book. But I like that. I really do. And there's this TV show as well, Normal People. It's so great. I loved it. I watched that before I read the book, but the book was really great as well. So I would definitely recommend this book for a summer read. The next book is about Clementine and Ewan, and it's called The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. And Clementine's aunt just recently passed away, and she inherited her aunt's apartment. And she have heard stories that this apartment is a little bit magical, so she travels back in time, and there Ewan is subletting the apartment. And you know, they start a little thing. I definitely felt the chemistry between those two. That was some nice chemistry there. I'm not gonna spoil much more than that, but this was a cute little book. Okay, listen, if you're into spice and time traveling, but needs a little bit more than The 7-Year Slip, I have the series for you. It's called the Surviving Trace series by Calia Read, and stuff is happening in this book, in this series, definitely. But I still enjoyed this series. You do follow Serene, and Serene is working at this antique shop. I think she owns it actually. And then one day these pictures comes in, and she loves looking at these pictures. They are from 1912, and then she brings them home and she's studying them, and whoopsie, she's traveling right back to 1912, where Etienne is. And apparently Serene looks exactly like Etienne's wife, and Etienne does not like his wife, because she's a bit of a, yeah. So anyways, Serene is back in 1912 and she has to survive there. And apparently she is married to Etienne. This book was just everything I need in a good romance book. And I also like the more historical aspect of it. That made it really nice. If you're not into spiciness, don't read this book. Then we have the last romance book on this list, and that is by Christina Lauren, and it is called The Unhoneymooners. This is more a cheesy romance book, but you know, we all need that. And it is about Olive and Ethan, and Olive's sister is getting married. I cannot remember if it's to Ethan's brother or to his best friend. But anyways, they're getting married, but at that wedding, everyone is getting food poisoning. So the wedding couple cannot go on their honeymoon. And Olive and Ethan are the only one that didn't eat from the buffet, so they did not get food poisoning, and that's why they go on this honeymoon instead. The wedding couple is like forcing them to go. And they have always been enemies. Again, stuff is happening, and it's great for the summer because I think they go to Hawaii and are doing a lot of beach, ocean activities. It just has that whole nice vibe to it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend reading this book for the summer. It was also really funny and it's sweet. It's a little bit based on miscommunication at the end, but anyways, it was a nice book. I enjoyed it, I definitely did. But it's not a serious book, so I think I have a little bit of everything. So let's move on to the more scary stuff. And I have Grady Hendrix for you. And I think these two books are perfect for the summertime. And it's called The Southland Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires and My Best Friend's Exorcism. I think I have talked about these books a lot on my channel. And in a few days I am starting the Final Girl support group from Grady Hendrix, and I'm hoping I'm gonna love that too. Anyways, these books are really perfect for summer because they take place during the summer, or they take place at this warm environment in the southern US. And the Southland Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, I hate that title, is about Patricia, and she's a housewife in the 90s, and her husband is a bit of a dick. Anyways, Patricia has 2 kids. She's in this book club. Life is, you know, alright. But then this guy is moving to their neighborhood. They are from this more well-off neighborhood, middle class, I guess. And she's putting 2 and 2 together. And she knows that he has something to do with some kids gone missing. And is he a vampire, or what is his thing? And she's trying to convince the other housewives from her book club to join her to fight this man. There's so much woman power going on in this book. There's a great feministic tone to it, and there's also a lot of, obviously, misogyny going on. I mean, I just love how some of these characters are kicking ass, even though they have horrible circumstances. And this sounds really heavy, but it's also done with humor, this whole book. So Grady Hendrix books are filled with humor, nostalgia, and they're also disgusting at the same time. I don't know what to say, but I like this. I listened to it as an audiobook, and that was really great as well. My Best Friend's Exorcism is about these 2 best friends, Abby and Gretchen. And they go to high school together in the 80s, and that's when Gretchen is getting possessed by a demon. And I think there's so much metaphorically going on in these books as well, even though it is also really literally that she does get possessed by a demon, but you can just analyze so much in these books. And again, it's done with the same tone. Girl power, woman power, sweet, disgusting, nostalgia, and also what the fuck. Anyways, I love these books, so give it a read if you can read something like that. Then I just finished this thriller, The God of the Woods, and I think this book is perfect for summer as well because it is a thriller about this summer camp. So, and I also think thrillers is nice to read during summer. And I love books about the woods, you know? I just love that. And it's definitely about the woods because that's where this summer camp is. But it is about Barbara Van La that goes missing from this camp. And Barbara Van Laar's parents basically owns this camp, and they do not care about her at all, because I think 12 years before they lost their son. Oh, anyways, he went missing. And they got Barbara because they wanted to have a new baby. But anyways, they do not care about her. They can't look past the grief. And it's also, what is up with this witch family? Why are the kids going missing? You do follow a bunch of characters that are near Barbara in one way or another, and you're trying to solve this mystery. I did not expect to like this book, but I was like, man, this is good. I like it. So yeah, perfect for summer as well. Okay, now we are moving on to another category where it's a little bit of everything. That's fine. Anyways, let's start with My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. And this is a series of 4 books. And you do follow these 2 girls from when they are very young, 5 up until they're in their 70s, I think. It takes place in Napoli, obviously, and it starts in the 50s. And Napoli wasn't really the nicest place to be a girl in Italy overall, I guess, in the 50s. But Napoli definitely was. I don't know if it still is a more pure city. So there's a lot of, crime going on. But it's about this neighborhood, what do you call it? Apartment complex, where there's a lot of families living, and these 2 girls are living there too with their own families, and they have this friendship, but it's on and off, and it's so toxic, and it's about them growing up, having families, school, careers, fighting for their rights, and they are fighting, let me tell you that. It's messy. It's really messy o'clock when you're reading these books. I really do adore this series. And it is really perfect for summer, because a lot of the time it is summer in these books. And there's also a lot of scenes where they are at the beach or something like that. And again, perfect for summer. But this is a bit more serious, and there could be trigger warnings. So check the trigger warnings out. And you are either rooting for the characters, or you're like, oh my god, please stop. Your emotions are all over when you're reading these books. But I think that's how you know it is a good book. Then we have The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. And this book is about, again, 2 girls that are best friends. This book has some magical realism elements to it. One of the girls are living in this big mansion with her aunt, and the other one is from a more poor family, but she gets accepted into this family, and she practically lives at this mansion as well. And they have this place that they are going, and that's kind of like the magical realism to it. And then you follow one of the girls later on in adulthood, but it's through the lenses of her fiance's eyes, husband's eyes. And you're trying to learn what happened to the other girl. Like, where is she? That's the big mystery. This has some scary elements to it as well, but there's so much summer vibe going on in this book as well. In this big mansion and the secret world, and there's this whole thing going on there. So I thought that's why it would be really perfect for summer as well. Then we have Where the Crawdads Sings by Delia Owens. And I think there's some controversy about the author though. But anyways, I really loved this book when I was reading it. And it's about this little girl that gets abandoned from her entire family. And she learns to take care of herself in the swamp, basically. And some people, adults, are trying to help her as much as they can. I think it starts in like the 60s. And it is heartbreaking, and it's also so sweet and so great. And you just feel so many emotions for this little girl. She also has her little beach at the swamp. I don't know, I'm just thinking about summer when I'm thinking about this book. But this is definitely a more serious book, and historical fiction, and a girl's fight to survive. So if that's more your genre and you're not into something cheesy, this book could be really, really great for that. I definitely adored that little girl. Okay, and I'm gonna mention another author if you're into something a bit more light, but also a little bit serious again. And that's Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I just think her books are great for summer. I have read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That's the best one. And then I have read Malibu Rising and Daisy Jones and the Six. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. You follow Evelyn Hugo, and she was a famous actress in the, I think, did she start in the 40s or the 50s? I mean, this is fiction. It's not about a real actress, by the way. But anyways, it's about her career and her story and why she had 7 husbands, which is a little bit weird, but you learn why. I did not expect to like it as much as I did, but I was so focused when I was reading this book. I just needed to know what was going to happen. And I think so many people are really just loving this book as well. It is great, so give it a read, and I think it is a perfect summer read as well. And Malibu Rising definitely is, because this book is about Malibu and basically about this party that these 4 siblings are holding, and it's about the siblings dynamics, and you know, it's just Malibu, it's surfing, it's beach, it's everything. So this was a bit more of a cozy read for me, just a really nice beach read, definitely. In Daisy Jones and the Six, you do follow this band and this band's story. And I think this band was also put together in the 60s again, I'm not sure. And there's drama there, there's love stories going on, you know, like this. And yeah, drama. But perfect for the summer again, really. And then I have something completely different, but this is also an author that I did want to mention, and that is Madeline Miller. And she writes Greek mythology, or she rewrites it. There is a way to Madeline Miller's writing that I cannot describe, but it's really unique, it's really beautiful, and it has a nice flow to it. And one of the books is called Achilles' Song, and the other one is called Circe. And I think I liked Achilles' Song a little bit better than Circe, because in Circe so much is happening, and it was a bit, and it was a bit slower in Achilles' Song. But anyways, I do like both of these books. And again, they're really perfect for summer because it's a really warm environment. I am from Scandinavia, so, you know, I like to read about somewhere warm because we don't have that here. Anyways, these 2 books would definitely be perfect for that, but it's a bit hard to say what they're about because they're about a lot. Yeah. So yeah, that was all of the books. I hope that this video isn't too long, and I hope that you found some inspiration for a nice summer. Hopefully it's not going to be too hot or too cold, just somewhere in between, please. Anyways, I will see you in another video. You take care.